Painting with Menoth John is presented in Super Legitivision. Super Legitivision, the future of podcasting. It's .com.
Hello, I'm
Menoth John.
and I'd like to welcome you. First of all, let me take just a moment to thank you for allowing me back into your homes. If this is your first time with us, let me extend a personal invitation for you to drag out your
miniatures
and paint along with us each week. Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. Let's build a happy little cloud. Let's build some happy little trees. There are no limits here. Start out by believing here. You can almost paint with anything. All you have to do is practice.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's Sunday night, and that means that it is all right. And, of course, I am coming to you tonight from the Glove and Boot Studios, ladies and gentlemen. I am Menoth John, and it is your Sunday night extravaganza. You know, if they're going to make this shit free, I'm going to take advantage of it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure that they'll be very happy with this, and that Fafa and Mario would be more than accepting of all this. Ladies and gentlemen, I am, of course, your host for tonight, and with me in the catbird seat, we call it the catbird seat because it's what I call it. It's up there. Of course, we have the normal co-host with the host, Mr. John Spencer.
Hello.
Yeah, baby. And, of course, in the other catbird seat, the one right next to Mr. John, is our newest member of the Painting with Menoth John family. We call him Gonzo.
Woo! Kermit the Frog.
There you go. We are very, very happy to have you with us here tonight, Gonzo. We went through an exhaustive search when it came to thinking about bringing on another host. You asked us, and we said yes, and that was pretty much it. And but Gonzo, I've known you for probably about 2-3 years now, and from knowing you from conventions and things like that. So we knew that you were karmically aligned, and as you know, we're not saying it's aliens, but it is aliens, and that's what brings you to us tonight. Gonzo, tell us what you wish the internet to know about you.
Shit. How about that?
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Our new co-host from the Painting with Menoth John show, basically shit. So you will fit in just perfectly good here.
No, John, it's shit.
Shit.
So there you go, folks. Gonzo is going to, Gonzo approached me and said, hey, I'd love to get involved with the show. I'm going to a lot of conventions and things like that. Love to be your man on the street, your man at the show, sort of that kind of thing. And I was like, this seems to be an excellent idea. Because, Gonzo, you're going to be going to a lot of shows this year, right?
I'm going to try to hit quite a few shows this year. When you originally approached the deal about War Machine Weekend on a thing about doing the report, I was like, you know what? That's actually not a bad idea to do.
Oh, yeah.
Just to go and call up, Skype it, or, do whatever, and just run around, and just talking to people. I think it would be a really cool thing to do.
Yeah. I'm full of fucking good ideas. I've got more great ideas. I've got so many great ideas. I built a wall around me, and I asked Privateer Press to pay for it. So, there you go. And I'm gonna use tiny little hands to make my gestures from now on. But my hands aren't that small because I have a normal sized penis. So there you go. I thought it was a great idea too, and I'm glad you thought it was a great idea, and John thought it was a great idea. So everybody thought it was a great idea, so we decided to go ahead and go forward with this. And to welcome you to the show, Gonzo, since you are now a member of the family, I would like to know what you are going to have as your shot to start the show on your first episode here at Painting with Menoth John.
My shot?
Yeah, what are you going to be drinking? What is your beverage of
Oh.
choice? Maker's
This is
Mark,
gonna be
ladies and gentlemen.
all the time.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. You know, and that will be the official shot of choice in the Arkansas area. Maker's Mark is lovely. It is a fine bourbon. And what about you, John? What are you having this evening?
Well, the Crown Royal Maple was shit, so I brought the Jim Beam Maple up.
I saw that shit in the grocery store the other day, and I
Don't.
avoided it.
Just don't.
I'll pay the $28 for the Sword of Liege. So
I mean, it was free, and I'm not sure it was worth it.
ooh, damn! How does
I'm
it?
just saying.
Crown Royal is not a bad whiskey by
It
itself.
probably mixes well, but
Yeah.
you don't take shots of it because just. I'll go the complete opposite and get Jim Beam Maple, which is super extra sweet and like being Facebooked by a pancake.
Oh, nice. So there you go. So you're getting. What do you have in there? What are you having?
Jim Beam Maple.
Jim Bay Maple. I'm having Kraken. You know, I figured that if I was going to welcome Gonzo onto the show, I would do it in classic style. So I'm having myself some Kraken, and then I'm going to finish it up with thanks to Superfan, to our good buddy that brought us the Sweet Baby Jesus we got here, and we're gonna have some Sweet Baby Jesus after that. But hey, Ron.
Ron.
Patrick Augustine brought me the Sweet Baby Jesus, and he presented it to me down in Chicago when he was visiting. I appreciate that very much. So those of you who are wondering what the hell's up with the Glove and Boot Studio, so there was an episode where they gave this away as a free, as a free Photoshop thing, and I decided to take advantage of it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? I
That's
mean,
cool.
it's good for them. They have
I know what it was immediately. It's awesome.
They have a lot of viewers, and I thought that maybe if I was using the same studio as they use, that they would maybe we would have as many viewers as them. I don't think it's going to happen. Do you, John?
No, I just hope our outtakes are nearly as funny as theirs.
Oh my God, they're super amazing. They're super amazing. So, you know, ladies and gentlemen, as 2017 approaches, you know, we're not going to have any more sponsors on this show. In fact, I've talked to Gary, our Painting with Menoth John official graphic designer. You know, Gonzo, we have one of those. We're fucking
Wow.
big. We're fucking big time. Muse on Minis doesn't
Legit.
have. Muse on Minis has a graphic designer that lives in John's basement or something. But we have one that lives somewhere else. So ours is +2 to distance or something like that. And he's working on some new graphics for us in the new year because, you know, 2016 was a ball of fuck. I think we can all agree on that. Fuck 2016.
Yeah.
We're done with 2016. We're giving it I'm going to give it the finger right now. The old man finger right there. And
I'm happy to everyone who's had a great 2016.
Oh.
Excellent. Good for you. Shut the fuck up about it.
yeah, and you know,
Agreed.
you know, yeah, okay. Fuck positivity. Fuck 2016 right in the ass. So we're going to have a new 2017 in ways that can't even be imagined by people who are in 2016 right now. So we're going to utilize powers of time travel and quantum mechanics to tunnel through 2016 and grab it by the nuts and say we're going to have a new 2017. And that means that we're going to have new graphics. And thanks to the patreon.com/MenothJohn, none of it will be sponsored. So what you're about to hear is likely the last KR multi-case ad you're ever going to hear. Because we love those guys and we appreciate them, but we're not going to take anything from them anymore. Fully independent, like Babylon 5. So on behalf of KR Multicase, this is a model telling you about KR Multicase. Hello, I am a barbarian. That you can tell from the horns on my head. You know, I was once an adventurer until I took an arrow to the knee. But now you can see here that I am a barbarian. And you know what makes me... Gonzo, you know? Do you know what makes me very happy? As a barbarian. Gonzo, answer the fucking question.
Chickens?
Chickens might make me happy in very carnal regions. Somewhere near where this skull is right here. That is where the chickens make me very happy. But I will tell you that what makes me even more happy as a model of a barbarian is KR Multicase. You know, when I am down at the men's club and they slather me up with butter, it is just like being in a KR Multicase. I just go, ah, and I lay back into the welcoming arms of all of the people from the men's club down by the Barbarians Center of City. You know, barbarians are well known for loving the cities within the city centers. So, like KR Multicase, you should want your models to go, ah. And the only way that you will ever hear their models go, ah, is if you put them in the KR Multicase. You know, 9 times out of 10, nine barbarians, that is, out of 10 recommend KR Multicase. And John Spencer, do you know what that 10th barbarian can do?
He can go fuck himself.
That's right. He can go fuck himself. You know, we were saying that down at the Barbarian Social Club the other night, that guy can go fuck himself. Anyway, on behalf of KR Multicase, for the fucking last time, you know, this is all you got. Deal with it. Is KR Multicase, it's a thing you can buy, and it doesn't suck. I'm a barbarian. I'm gonna fuck out of here. Ah.
That's the new tagline. Care Multicase. We're a thing you can buy, and we don't suck.
There you go.
Oh.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Say goodbye to KR Multicase as a sponsor of the Painting with Men Off John show. Unless they send me some shit, and then they'll probably, even if we don't have sponsors, they'll be a sponsor. You know what I mean? Because, you know, sending me shit is always good. Because I'll probably send it to you guys. I'll send it to Gonzo and John because I got enough. It's enough. I'll send it to you guys. You guys don't have as much, so I'll send it to you. Anyway, so that's enough of that shit. Now, I don't really want to paint, but
Well, maybe you could hold off painting by doing the poll of the show.
I could. Oh, that's a great idea. Oh, what a good idea. So we asked 9 out of 10 brushheads what they thought about going to conventions. We asked them, how many conventions do you go to per year? And you know, Gonzo, as our convention specialist, you're getting titles left and right here. You know, I won't remember any of them, but here's one of them. This is how many conventions do you go to per year? And you know, Gonzo, how many do you go to per year?
Probably about 4 to 5.
4 to 5.
Give or take.
That's a fair number. John, how many do you make it to?
I try to make it to 2.
Yeah, that's a good number. 2 is a good number. But it puts you in rare. It puts you in rare categories. It turns out that odd numbers. Well, I guess 4 is an even number, so that's my education showing where it is.
I have a teacher. I can help you with that.
Some odd numbers are more popular than others, and some even numbers are more popular than others. And so 1 wins the whole shebang, if you will. And I want to say that 1 makes sense because there might be people that are just going to conventions because they're close. And what do you think about that, Gonzo?
Completely agree. Expenses are a big thing about going to conventions. Rooms, travel, food, drinks,
Mm-hmm.
who you're going to be with, what stuff is going to be there.
That's right. All of those
So, yeah.
things are aspects that you got to take into account. And, you know, money is a thing, and it's a thing that you've got to take care of. John, if ideally, how many would you care to go to? If you had, let's say, I know you've worked through some financial difficulties in the last year. How many are you looking forward to maybe in the coming year?
This coming year, I'm probably going to go to about 2. But yeah, after all that, I'd like to go to 4. Maybe 1.25 sounds like a good number to shoot for.
That is a good number. You know, folks, conventions are like little holidays. They're like little vacations you give yourself. And you know, last year I think I was at 1 day of Adepticon, and then I was at the con that I threw myself, John Con. And so
I count.
I'm at 1, and in the coming year, I am looking at probably 3. So I'm looking at John Con, which will be a thing again this year, 2017. For those of you who were not in the updates or did not get over to PW, God, I'm throwing up into my microphone. PWMenothJohn.com. Get on over there because we did really, really well with the John Con. We raised $747 for the Racine Food Bank and 150 food items. So Walden, which is my son's middle school and hopefully will be my younger boy's middle school next year, they did great. Broke their records. I'd like to think it's because of us. And we did super great, and we helped some veterans, which is always wonderful. Some of that money went towards veterans to help them out because there's a lot of folks that come back from war and they don't have so much, and those are some people we have to care about too because they have the wherewithal to go out there and fight for our freedom, and so God bless them. Hey Ron.
Right.
And so there you go. So John Con will be a thing next year. We're gonna try to hammer out the dates. I think Rich and I are gonna figure out the dates so that we make sure Rich can come and all that stuff. But that'll be coming. But we wanted to kick this off because our discussion topic tonight is one that I'm very excited about because Gonzo's here with us. Is we want to talk about conventions and what are the conventions that we're looking forward to in the next year? Why are we looking forward to them? And let's talk about some of the important ones. Gonzo, I'm going to kick this over to you, and I'm going to put it on the painting cam. And I don't know what I'm going to do with the painting cam, but I'm going to do something with it and paint some shit, I guess.
Okay. Let's talk about some ones that I'm really, really excited to go to.
Cool.
There's always the small ones that I like to go to because it's that really close group of people, like Privateer Weekend, Midwest Melee. The smaller ones where it's maybe a couple hundred people.
So,
and
where are those two? The two that you just mentioned, where are they located?
Privateer Weekend, which was Dicon at one point.
Okay.
That's in St. Louis, with AK and all the St. Louis crew. And then Midwest Melee is the smaller one that is typically in Kansas City.
Does Dicon still exist?
I believe it still does.
Okay.
The reason why it had to break off last time was because it was during Lock and Load.
Oh.
And that's really a bad time to have a War Machine Weekend type style event.
That is a true statement of fact.
But Midwest Melee was Kim and Brandon Shirley's event that they do. So I'm always going to go to that one.
Where's that one located?
Kansas City.
Kansas City. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. And like I said, these are all close to me, so that's the reason why I'm always willing to go. Anything to 10 to 12 hours, I will go do it if I can afford it.
Well, that makes a lot of sense because one of the things that's a major concern with any kind of convention that you're talking about going to is, of course, how much are you going to spend for hotels and things like that?
Exactly. And if you could shack up with somebody that lives there, so that it makes it even better.
Exactly.
You don't have to pay hotel costs.
Yep. So what is it about so tell us a little bit about your thoughts on different conventions as far as the amount of there are different kinds of conventions. There are the little bit bigger conventions. What does that have to offer and all those kinds of things? Help the Brushheads kind of understand why they would want to pick one convention over another.
Personal preference is what's going to be there, but major point is who's going to be there.
Yes.
If you're looking to experience a wide range of games, a wide range of play styles, and meet a huge amount of people, you can always do like Gen Con, Adepticon, and you can get, I'm going to do War Machine, I'm going to do Infinity, I'm going to do board games, role playing. It just depends on what your preference is.
Mm-hmm.
Last year I went to Gen Con, which was my first Gen Con ever, which was awesome.
Cool.
Really, really happy about that. But I did a lot of role playing and not a lot of miniature gaming there because I wanted to try out a bunch of different role playing games to see if I wanted to buy them and see what other players were playing and see how other people played their game compared to when I ran it. Because if I ran a role playing game and then these people role played it and how they did it.
And that was my experience at Gen Con 2, Gonzo, was that I found myself wanting to do things that were not War Machine there because I could play War Machine in a lot of venues. This was my opportunity to see something different.
Yes, 100%. That's the reason why I was like, I'm probably going to get to do it because it's right around, because I'm a teacher and I can't go to those most of the time. It's right around when school starts. So I have to be careful about Gen Con. This one was right outside that area. So I'm like, I'm going to this one no matter what.
Gotcha. John, what are your considerations when you're thinking about conventions?
Right now, distance is the big one because travel's the hardest. I'm not a big fan of flying with models, so I'd like to drive there. And my car is not the best for getting to conventions, so it's usually a group thing.
Gotcha.
So it's pretty much where we can drive to. So, I'd not Brushhead Dave into driving to St. Louis for the One War Machine weekend, but he's never going to do that again because it's just a touch too far for him.
No, I understand that. It's St. Louis is bordering on a little bit of a long stretch, even for me these days. When I'm looking at some very aggressive travel schedules over the next God, 3 years. God, Howard Schultz needs to calm the f down and start. he's he's a great guy, probably the best CEO I could probably ever ask for, but the aggressive level of these roasteries, which are, guys, I'm going to tell you as an engineer, they're the greatest projects you'll ever work on because they're huge buckets of unlimited cash, and which is something you don't get to do as an engineer very often. And so they're super fun, but boy, are they going to be they're going to be very taxing from my family life and all that kind of stuff. So it's something to think about. These conventions are a thing that are a part of the hobby that are super fun, but you've got to kind of figure out your life, don't you, Gonzo? And your money.
Life and money. Like summertime conventions, I'm all good for. I mean, I'm a teacher, so summertime conventions are great for me. During the school year, I got to be careful about that.
Dude, Gonzo, you got to come up and hang out with me at my place over the summertime. You need to make the road trip up to Wisconsin, and we'll do Summerfest, and you can live here at Casa John, and it's gonna be super sweet. We'll just hey Ron. I'll give you my my pass to Great America, and you can pretend you're me.
Sweet.
I'm not going to tell you if they like me or not there. Just going to put that out there.
No, I mean, distance and time. I mean, I'll travel anywhere. I love road trips, as evidence of my trip to Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
But I like getting in the car with a bunch of friends and just traveling to wherever we can. Because there's nothing more stupid and fun than making up stupid jokes and laughing and just hanging out for hours on end.
So I think what John and I would love to see you do is let's talk about what cons you're planning on going to, and we'll kind of go do a little round robin here on why we're going to the cons we're going and those kinds of things, just to kind of give people a little bit of an idea of where we're going to be and why we're going to be there and why it would make sense maybe for them to come and possibly hang out and party with us.
All right. My one that I'm going to go to that I've never been to, which I'm really excited to go to because you're going to be there, is Adepticon.
Ah, yeah, we're gonna be in effect, buddy.
Yes.
Do you have your hotel and all that kind of stuff set up?
Yes, we a bunch of us locals are all going to go to it, and we're going to all meet up and drive up there.
So tell me about Adepticon. What do you know about the history of Adepticon, and why is it a kind of a cool thing to do?
Because I haven't been, so I have no clue what it's going to be like. But I know that I like cons that have a variety of things.
Yeah.
I really like different miniature games, and I like to see how everybody else is doing all those. I mean, big into War Machine Hordes, great. I love it. But something like Infinity Tables. Yep. I love to see professional Infinity Tables. Those things are stupid cool.
Yeah, it's a game that demands a lot of terrain. In a place like Adepticon, you're going to get that chance to see a lot of terrain, aren't you?
Yes, I love seeing the pictures from those conventions. Um, Also, different vendors. I like seeing the big vendors that come out to these cons that don't come to the smaller ones. Um, big business conventions.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really looking forward to Adepticon. Um, I'm not really big into most other games. I don't plan on bringing anything but War Machine and Hordes. Maybe something small. I actually want to see how the Wrath of King stuff is doing because I really like the Wrath of King miniatures. I think those miniatures are so cool.
Yep. So it's an opportunity. So Adepticon once upon a time, well, and it still is, I believe, the biggest 40K convention in the United States. And so what it brings is Privateer Press made their presence known. God, John, what is it? About 5-6 years ago, when they
Okay.
started giving away battle boxes in the swag bags.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was probably about that.
Sorry, I was taking a drink of Sweet Baby Jesus because I needed some beer. And so it's a very interesting convention in that it has a lot of a lot of 40K people there, but it's also got a lot of different games. It's in the Chicago area, so it's very easy to get into and out of from a lot of different airlines and stuff like that. So I will be there because I live about an hour from the game venue, and so
Lucky.
Rich Brotman's going to come out, and he's going to stay with me, and we're going to commute back and forth each day, and I'm going to take the days off of work and all that kind of good stuff, and we're just going to have a good old time, and maybe we end up with some casualties that end up in the car going back, because now I've got the winter assault vehicle. I can fit. I think it's got another row of seats back there, so I can fit a lot of people in this damn thing. But we're gonna have a good old time, and Adepticon's a lot of fun. So it's certainly an option for those of you who are looking for something a little bit different out there to take a look at. Adepticon's amazing, and are we gonna have a Senior Pro Tour event, Gonzo?
I haven't been approached by it. I think someone else is going to be doing it.
Really?
Which means if that, yeah, someone had mentioned and asked for my my achievement list recently, and I can't remember if it was Adepticon that was asking for that, but they were asking for my achievement list to do at another convention, and I was like, yeah, sure, take it.
Well, if it's not you running it, I'm not sure if it's an official event. Just gonna put that out there.
How about a junior event?
Junior Senior Pro Tour.
Yeah, we'll see if it's a. Yeah, I like that idea.
I like that too.
I like that a lot, actually. So, John, what are you looking forward to as far as events on the coming year?
Well, the one I'm definitely going to go to is Nova Open
Mhm.
because it's local. I haven't made it yet, and honestly, it's so local I should make it.
Yep.
I mean, it's not even an hour away.
Now that's Northern Virginia, right?
Yeah, Northern Virginia. The only downside is that for an event like it is, which it's getting bigger, but it's always very, very pricey.
Oh yeah,
You
the
know.
area is a tough area.
Yeah, and I'm getting past that, so I'm gonna try and make it down there and get a bunch of guys down there, and just have a good time, because it's got a wide variety of games again. It's gonna have Infinity and Malifaux and 40K and War Machine of Hordes, and X-Wing and Armada. It's got pretty much everything that's big right now.
And John, with some of these, shall we call them regional cons? I think that might be a fair enough name for them. Regional cons, I think that those are the ones that I really want to make an effort myself to get to, because they tend to be really, really well. I mean, there's a lot of passion behind the creation of these different cons, and I think that's what a lot of people should be looking at is that convention one that's got a lot of passion, because people who have a lot of passion around the game are ones that are going to really be knocking it out of the park as far as how they're doing their con preparation, and it's all about the passion, because I'll tell you what, folks, putting together a con is no joke. I learned that by holding a con for 16 people in my basement. And these people are doing hundreds of people, and I can only imagine how that scales. And it's super legit. They're doing a wonderful job to provide those of us who want to play games great venues to do that with. So support these guys. Support them. Get out there and they're not charging what they're charging because they want to make a profit. I promise you that.
Yeah, absolutely.
No.
And Nova's got a bonus of being one of the few cons that has a built-in day of rest for most people because it's over was it Labor Day weekend and it's not on Labor Day. Because Labor Day is a Monday and they're done by Sunday, but that means you get a free day of rest afterwards.
And it also provides them the unique opportunity, if you're looking at attending in that event, of being able to travel on that day and get back to your jobs, which is a big deal.
Yeah, you do lose some on the front end, but you always lose some on the back end when you're traveling, so it's good to not have to lose them both.
Yep, for sure. I'll tell you one I'm looking forward to, and that is the Southern Ontario Open. And this is one of the cons that I'm going to go to. For those of you who are playing along at home, I hate to, I'm sorry to break the flow here, but it's kind of what I do. Having a flow is not something I'm good at. Bastion Gray is something I like to have my trolls have a kind of a stone look to their weapons. So I'm going to have this is Bastion Gray on here. And I committed to the Brushheads. I was going to talk a little bit about the colors that I'm choosing. Iron Hall Gray is the color for the fur that I've chosen, and I'm going to be following that up with some dry brushing of some Frostbite, just so you know. Okay? That's always an important color combination for me, is the gray fur of the Iron Hall Gray with the Frostbite. And now with the wood that is on his staff and stuff like that, I'm going to be making a very a light glaze of the Battlefield Brown. I think that's a nice wood color, and I'm going to be doing that right now. So just wanted to give everybody a bit of a hobby update because I'm drinking and I might not, remember.
Are you sure that's not the age?
Oh, God, I got so many things working against me, Gonzo. I got so many things working against me.
So someone told me that memory is the first thing to go.
What?
I don't remember who that was.
But... I see what you did there. Nice.
My mom got a hoot of that today too.
Very, very nice. We're looking for. So I'm looking forward to the Southern Ontario Open. Now this is a convention that I've been told about by Rich and Adam and JP from the Beer Machine podcast. Folks, if you're not listening to Beer Machine, you're doing it wrong. And they have a lot to say on this. It's inexpensive. It's in Hamilton, Ontario. And first off, you cross the border, and all of a sudden, it's like the dollar's worth of. It's like having gold in your pocket, and it's very inexpensive. The plus, you get to sample the poutine, and poutine is amazing. So those of you who don't know what poutine is, it's French fries that are slathered with stuff, and it's a little bit up to you what you want it slathered with. But they also put cheese curds on it, and it's wonderful. Gonzo, have you ever had poutine?
Oh yeah.
It is.
I'm fat. Come on.
John, have you ever had poutine?
I have not, but it does sound awesome.
It is amazing. And the best poutine is Smokes Poutine, and Smokes Poutine is amazing. So I went there with Owen the Cooler and Rich and Adam, and I don't think JP was with us at the time, but it was super legit and totally sweet. So we are going to be having some smoked poutine and living it up in Ontario. Plus, everybody in Canada is like nicer than America, so it's going to be incredible. I mean, Tim the Enchanter. We've got all kinds of good people up there that. Even if they're kicking your ass, you can feel good about it. And that's what I'm hoping for, because I'm going to clearly get my ass kicked. And I'm hoping I'm going to feel good about it. So that is a con I've been looking forward to for some time. I've gotten to be very close with my good friends over at the Beer Machine podcast, and they're going to be there, so I'm going to be there too. And unfortunately, JP's not going to be there. So I want you guys to all kind of keep JP in your thoughts and prayers. He's having, he's not going to be able to play this game a whole lot longer, and that's unfortunate. But he's down at the House of the Mouse right now, living the dream with his family.
Sweet.
And God bless those folks. So on behalf of Pain with Benoff John to JP Rondonzo, God bless you, brother. Hey, Ron.
Right.
Man. I want to thank you both for encouraging me to continue to paint on this model. I'm just going to say that right now.
There you go. You got to keep going, otherwise it just sits there half finished. If you
I know, right?
procrastinate, you never get back to it.
Oh my God.
Trust me, I know.
It's so
Trust me, I
incredibly
know.
so incredibly difficult. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put some gold on this guy. Get my Rulic gold out here, which is like my most important gold color ever. So Gonzo, we're back to you. What other conventions are you looking forward to, brother?
One that I always attend, and which is where I met you at, was War Machine Weekend.
Ah, yes.
War Machine Weekend I will always go to from here till the end of time.
So what is it that makes War Machine Weekend special?
The community.
Okay.
I have made more friends, more fun. It is the first con I went to where I had forgotten a model, and this guy comes up to me and goes, "Well, here, take my entire unit. Just get it to me at the end of the con." And I was flabbergasted at that.
Yeah.
I started going to War Machine Weekend when we were excited when we had, 50 people show up. So now that it's gotten the way it has, I'm even more happy to go. I've met so many people that I consider friends, and a lot of people I consider family now.
Yep.
A lot of people I consider family.
Yeah, War Machine Weekend's a great party. John, was that no, we met at the game store in Maryland before we met at War Machine Weekend, right?
Correct.
And that was the first convention we were at together.
Correct.
What are your thoughts on War Machine Weekend?
It was a great time. Now I'm an old school convention guy. I went to a lot of really old conventions back in the day when I started off, so I'm maybe not as what's the right word for it?
Nostalgic?
Yeah, nostalgic for it, but it was still a great time. It was a top-notch con, and everyone there was super cool. You get that when you're standing in line with some random guy and just chatting it up, and then rest of the weekend you're seeing that guy and you're chatting whenever you're there. It's a great time.
Yep. Yes.
I have had some wonderful times at War Machine Weekend. I'm going to tell you folks, I'm going to give you a little bit of insight to Benoff John. When I fell out of love with conventions, it was at War Machine Weekend. And I'll tell you why. And I will hopefully, by telling you this story, I will tell you how to prevent you from making a mistake. Going to conventions is all about community and having fun. And the best way to prevent yourself from having fun is by going to a convention and not sharing a room. I got my own room because of a tough experience I had at Kingdom Con, and that was nobody's fault. I should have been able to see through that particular problem, and I decided, well, you know what? By God, I've got a good enough paying job, and I can afford this. I can get a room of my own. Don't do it, folks. Do not do it. Do not get a room by yourself. The point of going to convention is to experience the community experience of hanging out with other people. And if you go to a convention and you have a room by yourself, you will be lonely. You don't necessarily need to share, 4 people is probably the point at which it jumps off from community to being insanity if you have more than 4 people. But share your room. Even if you might maybe meet someone new and you're taking a little bit of a chance by sharing your room with somebody, do it, because you're going to meet new people and you're going to make friends and you're going to have new experiences. And that's really the love of going to a convention.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
And as someone who's had to share a room at conventions when I was working it for Games Workshop with random GW employees who were not even always from the same office as me, at the worst, there's someone there who you just don't pay any attention to. They do their thing, you do your thing. That's the worst that generally happens with that,
Yeah.
because they're there for the con too. They're not like going to be like there trying to make your life horrible. They understand. They're normal peoples just like you.
Yep.
So the worst case is just someone you don't converse with. It's just like, hey, how you doing? And you go on your way. So that's probably the worst that's going to happen to you with a 2-person room.
Yep.
Someone you don't know.
Yep. And my experiences at Kingdom Con were unique, and I should have recognized them as having been unique. I took them as being a sign that I needed to consider differently how I was going at conventions, and I didn't need to do that. That was a mistake. And so I think that folks, share your room with others, go with friends, make new friends, and that is the way to go to a convention. Because I'll tell you what, these are some super sweet and totally legit experiences, and have fun. Gonzo, your thoughts?
I agree. I would not know half the people if I didn't go to cons, because even if I went to the small locals, you get to see people like, people coming from Australia, people coming from Europe, people coming from Canada, all over the place. And it's interesting to talk to them, not just about game stuff, but how games are done there compared to how games are done here. Because people play them differently, different lists, different attitudes. Plus, you get to have, just good conversation. That's just, I've got people that I've known Carl since like War Machine Weekend #2, and I consider him, one of my best friends. I could call him up and say, "Hey, I need this," and he'd jump on it in a heartbeat.
Yep,
That's the thing.
Carl's like that. And you get to meet more people like that. Gonzo, for God's sakes, here we are. We've met at a few cons, and I brought you in as part of the family.
Yeah,
it's that kind of a set of experiences that you get at these cons, and so get out there. Do not make the same mistakes I've made. I've learned from my mistakes. I'm coming back. Folks. I'm coming back to the convention circuit, and my significant other Belinda is very supportive of this. And she's like, get out there, have fun, go to 1 or 2 of them a year. But honestly, folks, I've got some other priorities in my life these days. I've got my kids. We're going to go in Belinda. We're going to go see some places that she's never been to, that I've never been to, my kids have never been to. We're going to experience some stuff. But conventions are a part of the deal. So, John, what's a convention that you have never been to that you would love to go to?
Gen Con.
GenCon.
In fact, until I realized my finances were not quite as under control as I wanted, I was going to go this upcoming year. But now I'm holding off a year. But the year after, it's definitely potentially on the schedule.
There you go. What about you, Gonzo?
Sure. Ask me as soon as I take a bite of a cookie.
Well, yeah, that's what It's I've got the same instincts of your average diner waitress. Wait till their fucking mouth is full completely of food, and then ask them.
I've always wanted to go overseas to like a big con overseas, just because I've never been overseas, and I think that would be a perfect way to do it. Is go to a convention, spend a few extra days there. So I'm not even sure which ones are like huge overseas, like in Europe.
May I recommend SmogCon?
Oh, yeah.
So I went to SmogCon a couple of years ago, and it was amazing. John Webb runs a wonderful convention, and England is amazing. I turned it into a major vacation for my girlfriend and I, and it was terrific. SmogCon is wonderful. It's become kind of the lock and load of Europe. And, Norbert's had a lot to do with that. And, we've had Norbert on the show before. Huge friend of the show, Norbert Brunhuber. And love that guy to death.
Someone I got to meet really well at War Machine Weekend this last year.
Yeah, God, if I wish I'd have known that Norbert was coming because I almost would have come just to see Norbert. He and Vilma were amazing to me when I was visiting their country. We went out and got some Indian food, and it was, man, I'll tell you what, wonderful people, wonderful people that you don't get a chance to visit unless you go to these places, folks. So get out there and try some of this stuff.
I agree. Yeah, but I think that would be really cool to do. Branch out a few extra days so I could see stuff around the place on top of the con.
Absolutely. John, do we have any questions in the chat room or in any of our Facebooks?
We have 2 questions.
Okay.
One's already answered, but I'll throw it out there anyways, just so everyone can hear, because it's a question that I guess people don't always get the answer to easy. And it is, does Berserk ability keep generating attacks as long as you keep destroying models?
God, they asked Painting with Menoth John a fucking rules question?
That's right.
Wow, that's crazy talk.
Short answer is yes. The long answer is hell yes. I'm actually playing with Gudrun the Wanderer right now, and he's been berserking on some stuff.
I mean, I always thought. Go ahead, Gonzo.
I was gonna say you could always ask usually because this year I played a lot of trolls, and Doomy 2 with Rock. That's pissed off a lot of people.
Yeah. That's a lot of hot nasty right now.
All these guys. I'm gonna goad over here a little bit. Maybe kill some of these guys. Goad over here, kill some more. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Just walking with sidestep, walking through. You made a Congo line for me, really?
Yeah.
That was awful sweet.
My favorite is playing in a journeyman. I had Gudrun in it because it was I was playing Rulik, and back then he was Rulik. And my hammer dwarves left like some minion heavy on like a handful of boxes. There's just enough space for Gudrun to get in over their heads and kill it. So I did it, and then I'm like, oh, I just killed it, and I'm in the back arc of all of my hammer dwarves. But luckily, he didn't have to kill them all because he comes with the ability called binge drinking. So he just fell over and stopped attacking.
Well, there you go.
It's just pretty comical when you think about it. He just runs up, whacks a big beast in the head, and just passes out drunk.
That's my boy.
This is pretty awesome thought. But yeah, Berserk definitely will keep triggering as long as you keep killing dudes.
Wow. I'm so shocked somebody that asked us a rules question, I can't even begin. It's like, well, you may have missed the point of the show. That's okay. We love you anyway.
It's Kopnik Scotty Potty.
That guy.
You throw it out there.
That guy. Wow.
That's what I bring to the show.
Man, you bring out the best. you bring out the best in our regulars.
Well, it's any questions. There are no stupid questions.
No.
You gotta ask them all.
Because all stupid questions are content, and we appreciate content.
There was one other from Congo the Dromagund.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little heavy.
Okay.
Take some thought on your part, John.
All right.
So
I'm locked in, baby.
What will it take for Mouth John to appear with orange on his face, a blonde wig, exaggerating words, for one complete chow?
Oh, almost nothing.
He's a cheap whore.
A couple. Oh fuck yeah, I'm a cheap whore. Dude, takes almost nothing. I need a compliment for how I'm doing on this model so far. That's about it. Cause
he is looking good.
Thank you. I think I'm doing okay. I'm trying some stuff. This blue here is going to get. I took this inspiration from my Glacier King, where I took this deep blue, and then I'm gonna take and I'm gonna dry brush it with the frostbite. See how it turns out. Plus, this guy's gonna get a shit ton of pink. So we'll see how it all works out. Yeah, let me see about that. Let me see about that whole Drumpf thing, because I could be down.
Congo.
I could be done for that. I could be down with that. What's that?
Oh yeah, Congo says that's a very pretty model, man, John.
Done.
Oh, well, there you go. I smell Cheetos in my future. Hey, Congo, join at the $5 level on patreon.com. I'll fucking dance with my pants off.
Whoa. That's,
I'm not sure
kinda
anybody
scary.
will want to watch that episode, but, whatever. Congo the Jorgamon, we love you. Of all the, we've had some recent Brushheads come and go, and we love you very much. We love you
and,
long time.
Trollton Heston has a appropriate flippity bloop for his name, being it's a troll.
Yep.
He says, "Why do they have to go and kill Chewbacca in the new Star Wars movie?"
Well, I thought the funniest part of the whole new Star Wars movie, Rogue 2, was the fact that Boba Fett killed Darth Vader using parts of the Sarlacc teeth. That was my favorite part. Shoved it right up his ass.
Oh.
Anyway,
No, Congo now reminds you that he is at the $5 level, by the way.
Oh, that guy.
You're so owned.
He's got your number.
I am so worthless.
That number is Cheetos in the face and a blonde wig.
Well, I guess I got to do it. So I got to make it happen. So
the Trumpisode.
The Trumpisode will happen. I have to align the proper astrological symbols and all that, I guess. And we'll make it happen, I guess. Because the people spoke, John and Gonzo.
That's right.
What am I supposed to do?
Keep your word.
I will.
Right.
So I'll get some Cheetos and I'll get a blonde wig and I'll comb it over and we'll see what we can do. Give me some time to arrange all of this and we'll make it happen.
There you go. And that's all the flippity bloops we have so far.
Really? So, Gonzo, you're new to the show, but I know you've been watching for some time. Is there anything you've wanted to ask the show that you've never gotten the opportunity to?
No.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
I know where this goes.
So much for trying to save the show, because we almost had...
Can you see the handbasket over in the corner? Because that's where it goes, to hell, in that handbasket.
In that handbasket right over there. So I'm going to continue because I got nothing else to say. I'm going to go ahead and continue talking about this painting that I'm doing. I've gone ahead now and I've brought this this particular color back up. Now I'm going to bring it back down. So I did a lot of work with just bloodstone, and now I'm going to come back and I'm going to present a little more blue to it in the deep recesses. And that is what has worked out pretty good so far as providing a depth against the lighter color.
I want to give a shout out to one of the guys I played this week.
Oh, please do.
Ryan, he's a new guy. He just came back from Alaska with his significant other, and he's relatively new to War Machine. We played on Wednesday, and he was a champ for the entire game. Sometime in the middle of turn 3, he's like, "I just want to kill one of your models," and I turned over. I'm like, "No, you've killed," and realized he hadn't killed the goddamn thing yet.
Uh-oh.
He did end up killing a couple models, but he was just upset because it was one of those games where everything started working right, and you start remembering rules that you were forgetting in the middle of the turn. You're like, "Oh, well, I can get to the Lancer with my rock ram, but I can't get to the Stormclad." And then I look over and I see Lanissa standing there in the forest going, "Hey, what about me? Hunter's Mark?" And I'm like, "I can get to the Stormclad."
Yeah.
And this just in, a rock ram kills the crap out of a Stormclad, especially when your dice hate him, because it was like, I rolled a 16 twice. I think a 16 for the damage on the shot and 16 for damage on the charge attack. It was pretty ugly.
I had Matt Wonky, brother of Wonky Kong, tear me a new asshole on Thursday, and that was with I was playing a Horgel 2 list that needs some thinking about, and he was playing with Fiona the Lash, the second one, the new one.
Yeah, the caster.
Yeah, she can fucking murder shit from way downtown.
Yeah, like I said, I think there's a good chance she could be the best caster of that group. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. Gonzo, have you played against that particular nightmare?
No, right now it's a lot of Una 2
Oh,
and
tuna.
Legion right now that I'm playing against.
Man, I have yet to see Una 2, and I'm glad that I have almost no circle casters in my meta.
I think she just requires you to have a plan of what to do, because I think her best tactic, aside from just having a good threat range, but it's not so far that you're not used to staying, you stay a little further away, is having a plan if she just runs her damn griffins and surrounds your caster with unmeleeable models. As long as you have a plan for that, it's okay.
Wait, so as long as I have a plan for a whole bunch of birds standing around my caster that I can't hit in melee,
Uh-huh.
that's okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't sound okay.
Well, I was playing Gorton. I was going to feat and then walk away and take a free strike for one because I'm Gorton. Osram, he just casts Unstoppable Force himself and gives them all the bump. You get over there, you get over there, you get over there. I'm going to wander this direction. Shoot them to death. Like I said, you just have to have a caster who has a plan against that. And I don't think she's going to get errated because I don't think she's broken. I think she's just one of those casters that comes in with a whole new idea of doing things that makes you think about it a bit.
See, I'm with Cholton Heston. I brought a lot of guns with my Kador.
Yeah,
And
guns.
just guns out the wazoo. A lot of things
Doubly
that
so if
shoot.
you got. Yeah, if you can ignore stealth too on some of your guns, the Griffins come sad because the Scars spell, the ones they use most of, are only like armor 13, and any real gun makes those things sad real quick. So.
Yeah, they fall pretty quickly.
But yeah, she's one of those ones that's just crazy, has some crazy potential, but if you got a plan, it's not as bad. Like honestly, if you can face tank a couple Griffins, which not a lot can, or even just keep it down to a handful of them. My first battle report with Gorton, that's on the website. I made Fortress Gorton with the objective in front of me, a rock wall stopping on one side, and then a jack on the other side. I'm like, you can't surround me with them because I've kept stuff back. You can stand in the middle of infantry. You could just have a unit dedicated to be like, I'm going to walk up here with this unit around me. And that's at least a plan versus that particular tactic. And there you go. John doesn't seem convinced.
I appreciate your commentary because I'm sitting here trying to figure out how I'm going to unfuck this model because of messiness with my brush, and it's not making me happy.
Well, to finish off our flippity bloops, because Trolton Essen dropped another one on us, is how are you liking the techniques you learned last week?
I like them just fine. It's just the fact that I don't necessarily have the brush control to pull them off.
Yeah, that's what makes all my painting take longer is brush control. I have very little. I'm sloppy as crap.
Yeah, and
I agree.
this particular technique that we've learned is very brush control dependent, and I hope you're seeing that because what you're seeing me do here is work a lot of shadow and stuff into places where I'm just putting this thing down. Between Sweet Baby Jesus and Kraken, I have no business touching this model right now. I mean, I like the pink against the Bloodstone. I mean, it's gonna work out if I just don't fuck it up. And right now, I'm too in the bag not to fuck it up. So
I think in the future you might actually go darker than your pink to start, and then lighten the pink up to try and get a sort of a little bit of depth to them.
Oh, and I will. I think that's a really good suggestion, John. I mean, I'm gonna, I'll probably take some darker pinks here and try to, I'll try to work some of that same technique into it. But for right now, you need to go away, Mr. Shaman.
So, Trolton Heston has a question. I'm pretty sure I know the answer to, but it's a good one for everyone out there. He says, "Do you connect your hands when you paint for stability?"
Oh, absolutely. You'll see me, and I'll like hold a brush head. I'll probably hold a brush here, and I'll just kind of. What you'll see me do is I will take I'll move the mic, and I'll take a brush, and I will take this finger, and I'll like interconnect it here, and bring it to that thing, and I'll just like bring that all so that it's all connected. And that way I take a lot of the movement and the stray movement out of the brush. Makes a huge difference for me.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but I do the elbows on the table and then that bottom palm of one corner of each hand together while I'm painting most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really good stability too.
Stability is 90% of brush control, and being able to. One of the big challenges of painting on this show is that I've got this stupid fucking camera right here in front of me that is taking the picture of the model so that I can give you good views of what I'm doing. But at the same time, it compromises my ability to hold the damn model right exactly where I want it to be. So I'm kind of having, at the same time that I'm fixing the look of the show, I'm also kind of screwing up my own ability to paint really well. So that's why I tend to finish my models off camera, because it allows me to paint to my best ability. But I would say that, guys, what we're looking at here, this isn't bad. It's I probably could add a little more shadow to it, but I'm pretty happy with where it's at. I'm going to continue to put these pinks in here. And once I get all the pinks and all the different stitching and stuff, I think it's going to look pretty good. So, anyway, next week on the show or sometime during the week, get over to PwMJ. I will post a picture of this guy finished, because I need his sorry white ass to get off of my desk. Purple ass to get off of my desk. Anyhow,
Plus, we'll have a tournament recap for the Baltimore Brawl last chance qualifier and 2 battle reports coming up.
yep, lots of things to see over there at PwMJ.com. Guys, it is 8:03, and perhaps I'm done painting a little earlier than what we'd normally expect during a course of a Painting with Ben Off John show. But there's a gorilla in the room.
Gorillas in a row? Meh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Meh. And that gorilla that's in the room, we're gonna launch off to the media section a little bit earlier than normal tonight. There's a little movie out in the theaters y'all need to go see, and that's called Rouge One.
Yes. Let me start with the Rouge One, public announcement here, the public service announcement on Rouge One. There are no Bothans. That's the second Death Star. For Christ's sakes. Bothans, second Death Star.
But many
Public service
Bothans
announcement.
died in order to bring you this particular episode of Painting with Menoth John.
I had that question from people I shouldn't have that question from.
So when Disney, a small company, up and comer, Disney, decided to buy the Star Wars franchise, they had bigger plans than George Lucas could have possibly imagined for this franchise. And among them was these Star Wars stories that I think we're going to definitely see more of. And the first ones they decided to do, well, they want to do The Force Awakens because that's canon. They're kind of keeping it. Well, it's all canon. Let's not.
It's all canon. That's part of the main saga, let's say.
A wonderful way to put it, John. And they also decided these side stories that are things that we've heard about, like how the hell did they ever get the plans for the Death Star, and that is the main plot of Rogue One. John, I'm going to let you take it from there.
Yeah, and it'll be no spoilers, guys. We'll do our best, no spoilers. If we say anything, it's going to be something that was common knowledge or anything like that.
Right.
So, shocker of shockers, this movie's good.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
yeah, it's good.
And
it is a Star Wars war movie.
Yep.
There's no Jedi. Well, I mean, Darth Vader's in it. Obviously, you've seen that. But
yeah.
But the Jedi are not the main character of the stories. There's no one with superpowers or anything. It's just soldiers and all going together and completing their mission. And man, it is good.
Yeah.
Really good.
I find this to be the most satisfying and enjoyable Star Wars experience I've ever had. I like it better than any of the previous movies, including A New Hope. It is close with Empire because Empire is somewhat similar to this
It,
movie in the way in its grittiness. Go ahead, John.
I agree that it does have a lot in common with Empire. I would actually probably put it fourth because honestly, I really like The Force Awakens. The Empire is probably my favorite movie of all time, and the original is really hard to compare with. But being the fourth best Star Wars movie is not bad at all.
No, Gonzo, your
Uh,
thoughts? You've seen it, right?
Oh yeah, saw it today.
yeah,
I really really liked it. I like the whole no Jedi theme, even though A New Hope is near and dear to my heart because that's what I grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the reason why it's my favorite of all time, no matter what. But it really hits what Star Wars is about, not just about Jedi's.
Yep.
And I think that's what is really important about the show.
So here's the part of the Paying with Mouth John show where I try to convince you that you're both wrong about why this is the fourth or less than the first best Star Wars movie. Um, I found this movie to be the best for a number of reasons. The first reason is that, and we'll take these one at a time, and we'll have an open discussion about them. And I've got an open mind on this. The first reason is that all of the characters that are in this movie are identifiable as me, as a person. So there is, for one of the things we've talked about already that is not a spoiler, is there's not a lot of magic going on here. The force powers and whatnot are not a strong part of this particular movie. They are the force exists. There are people who believe in the force, but it is not a central theme to the movie. And as a human being, I can identify with the characters that are in this movie more easily than I could with any of the other ones. Thoughts?
uh, I would agree with that portion, but I would counter that. Unfortunately, none of the characters end up with as much time to get to be known as any of the main characters from the original trilogy, and that is a little bit of a detriment, unfortunately. They don't quite fit the feels the same way, all told, as the main cast did.
Do you feel that those thoughts are somewhat influenced by the fact that you've only had 2 hours with these characters versus 2, 4, 6, in some cases 7 to 8 hours with the other characters?
Oh yeah, absolutely, and it always is going to be, it's not only that. It's also, you got to remember that as a big Star Wars fan, I also had novels and comic books and everything with those other characters too. I mean, there's no way you're going to be able to match that in the limited running time of Rogue One. There's just
Fair
no way.
enough. Fair enough. Gonzo, your thoughts on identification of yourself with the characters?
I really liked it. I actually felt that the characters all had pretty good screen and personality time.
Mhm.
And I felt really close to a lot of them. Especially, I was looking up names of the characters, and it was Donnie Yees and
Yeah,
yeah, those two guys.
he's
I Go ahead.
Donnie Yen's character is the man. He is awesome for
Yes.
so many reasons.
Now that is
Uh,
which one was that? The guy with the gun
blind
or
one.
the blind
The
one?
blind one.
Okay. The blind one or the blind guy's buddy with the gun.
yes, I want
They're
to see a
both-
buddy cop movie with them. I want to see those two characters in their own film.
Not for nothing.
Yeah.
Not for nothing. Best gun in Star Wars.
Yes.
Yeah, and I agree that all the characters were all identifiable and they all had distinct personalities. It's just, it's hard to get the time to really feel like them in that short time. But they did great with what time they had.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
I think someone told it to me best is that the movie reminded them of a solid World War II Band of Brothers type movie.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Which I will bring to another point that I would like to point out about why this is my favorite Star Wars movie. Is that there is no they had the opportunity to present a romantic entanglement and they walked away from it. And that is, as far as I'm concerned, a huge plus for a movie because it is easy to pull on the heartstrings of an audience by developing a romance in in an unrealistically short amount of time and to play emotion against that too strongly. This movie, I felt, um, presented a number of relationships that developed in short time and displayed their effects in an appropriately strong manner without becoming
Hmm.
romantically involved. And I felt that was smart, and I felt that it was handled with a great amount of maturity. So, in many respects, I feel that that was handled better than A New Hope with Luke and Leia. As awkward as that might have become later in the series, I feel like it was handled more almost as well. I think that Han and Leia was handled properly.
Yeah.
It was
Well, I mean, Luke and Leia. Luke's a farm boy who probably hasn't seen a beautiful woman like that before, and obviously he's smitten
it
because
was a crush.
it's a crush, absolutely, and that's realistic. It never goes anywhere, and that's realistic for a crush as well.
Yes,
But I agree with you. You know that's one of the things I harp on with movies when they have love stories that sort of happen too quickly and one didn't, and there's no ways and it should because there's no chance for it to happen.
exactly. So, Gonzo, your thoughts on the relationship angle on this particular movie?
I was very happy with the way they handled it. I particularly hate movies where it's, oh, we're fighting the world and we're living and oh, we're dying and let's go have a romp in the back room real quick while we're trying to save the world.
Yep.
The way that they handled the relationship in this one was really solid. It had a lot of you still had the feels is what I call it. You still have the feels of what's going on, but you're like it didn't blur the movie.
Yep.
It wasn't the centerpiece.
Yep.
Yes.
Agree completely. Agree completely. So the another part of this particular movie is, and one that I think is a strong portion of this movie, is that it all proceeds relatively logically, even in a science fiction movie. Is that that people reacted while very bravely. They managed their character consistently with their character's motivations. Even more so than maybe I've seen in other movies. A lot of movies will tend to, in some Star Wars movies, will tend to be heroic to their own detriment.
Hmm.
And I felt like this movie, especially with it showed the rebels really acting towards their own goals rather than being goody two shoe.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think that in previous movies, the rebels were a relatively generic good guy faction, and the Empire was a relatively evil bad guy faction.
True, but
The,
there wasn't really any backstory for the rebellion. Usually they were fighting the Empire, and that was sort of the point of it. It wasn't the
right,
rebellion wasn't really the focus because it's not. I mean, for all
right,
of our love of it, it's not about the Galactic Civil War. It's the fall and redemption of Anakin Skywalker slash Darth Vader. That's
true.
the core of the series. So
Okay, so your point, John, is that the other movies handled a different aspect of
hmm
the overall story arc.
hmm
Okay, I can buy that. I can buy that
yeah,
because the my issue, the thing that I loved about this movie was that it finally painted the rebellion as a gritty, not good guy faction who was ideologically committed to
Well,
not being under the thumb of the Empire.
they were good guys, but you still have to look at the fact that they're in a really shitty position, and they people out there have to make the hard choices, and they do make hard choices.
I will make the argument that there was an action that was perpetrated by one of the main characters that was inherently evil.
I wouldn't, because I imagine if you talk to any soldier who was any spy type soldier who was in any war, that they would do the same thing because the greater good.
Okay.
And it's not noble or heroic, and it's a tragic thing that has to happen, but they would tell you they'd probably do the same thing.
Okay. I'm not going to get spoilerific. I would love to talk to you about this particular subject in some detail, just you and I. But I think that there was a very utilitarian approach to how they conducted their business, which I think squares them up against reality better than what has been squared up in the other movies.
Yeah, I mean, this movie is more grounded in reality than the other movies.
Yep.
And that's good. It's a good companion piece. It's a good change of pace from what we get. We get a little more dark and gritty than the standard, space opera. And that's good. You need some of that once in a while to remember that this was a war, and it was horrible, and wars are horrible.
Yep. So, Gonzo,
I think it's a good point.
Yep. What are your thoughts?
Going back on the war thing, I think that's a good point. We've only been partially privy to what the war was. There was, the Empire, we saw the Battle of Hoth and stuff, but we've only seen small snippets of the rebellion. And I think that's what really hits hard. And that's also why they also did some reshoots, because they said it was too gritty at one point. And I'm like, I want that gritty stuff, because it shows us that it wasn't just all Jedis and all happy and, good guys.
It's not just, some Jedi and a couple dozen snub fighter jacks that won the whole war.
Yeah, there was a lot more that went on. And I'd like to see the unedited version where it was grittier, because I think I'd probably like that even more.
Yeah.
Before the movie today, they had the original trailer for Rogue One, and I look at it, I'm like, more than half of these scenes aren't even in the final movie. And that interests me quite a bit, because it was still a great movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe the reshoots did hit the tone that Disney wanted, but I feel like the original tone could be an interesting watch if you're ready for it.
Yeah. I really feel like of all the Star Wars movies, this is one that I think that took a tone that was much less fantasy than any of the other ones. It showed us, but the part of it that I think really struck home for me was that it integrated perfectly to Episode 4.
Yes.
They
took great pains to do that, and it was well done.
And it wasn't ham-handed. It wasn't done poorly. It was done.
One thing was a little ham-fisted, but I understand why they did.
In what respect, John? Can you do it without a spoiler?
Well, yeah, because it's not really a super spoiler, because it's a thing that happens. It's not pertinent to the plot. It's pertinent to Luke being part of Red Squadron in A New Hope. Is when they shoot down Red 5 in the space battle.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
You knew it was happening. It's not really. I understand why they did it. They didn't. There are people who wouldn't necessarily make that connection off the top of their head. And they wanted to drive it home, but I felt like that was maybe a tiny bit ham-fisted.
Yep. If I had
Still not bad.
If I had to criticize one little bit, there are a few computer graphic representations of human beings that are. They have not quite crossed the uncanny bridge to be able to bring us folks that aren't with us anymore, or who are with us but in very different ways, to the screen. And God, we're not quite there technologically yet. And
close.
We're close.
And the one was, the more they showed it, the more I noticed. In the first scene with that particular one, I was like, that's really good. And then as it went on, I'm like, okay, you guys are doing it a little much. And I understand why, because you have to. It was an important part, I feel.
And I will tell you that where it bothered me the most was the lips.
Didn't
Lip-
notice the lips, but I'll check on the second viewing.
lips are hard because how we move our lips is very, very expressive as humans.
Well, yeah. And let's talk about the other end of that, where they found some cutting room 4 footage and managed to sneak in good footage, new footage we haven't seen before of Red Leader and Gold Leader in
Yeah.
this movie.
Oh,
That's not really a spoiler. There's a battle at the end. It's great.
it's amazing
It was-
when we see
it
those
warms your
faces.
heart.
When you see those faces, you're like, this is gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. Even now we're along for the ride of how does this work out? Because we know
They
these
care
guys are
as
gonna be
much
okay.
about it as we do. They're like, we care as much about how this fits in as you guys do,
Yep.
and they're doing it right.
Yeah,
And
there was a lot of good homage in there, and a lot of,
yeah.
hey, we know that you like these characters. These characters had a part in this movie before, and here's just those little pieces of each one of them in different parts, and I was happy about that.
Yep, for sure. So let's dual spin around here. John, give us your thoughts on Rogue One.
It's a great movie, one of the best I've seen this year. I'd have to see it a second time to catch up to see if it is the best I've seen this year. Easily Zero Shots of Kraken, one of the great Star Wars movies. And the best thing about it is when you get back from the theater, you can just watch the sequel.
Yeah, exactly. Because you probably already own it. For me, it's a Zero Shots of Kraken. It's not even close. I think it is the best Star Wars movie so far, in my opinion. I know maybe John and Gonzo, you guys might disagree with me on that rating. That's fine. That's it's all good. I felt like it brought to me an emotional edge that even Empire didn't bring to me, and I thought that there were certain key casting choices that were made that were brilliant. And I'm thinking of Alan Tudyk as
K2SO.
yes, as the android was amazing, and it was
Yeah, he
nice
was.
to see a robot that did not follow Asimov's 3 rules of robotics, because it was
No.
good to see one that could function outside of that trope and function so well. Special effects were amazing. The acting was off the charts good. Everyone was amazing, and so I'm giving it. I still feel like Arrival is the best science fiction movie of 2016, because it's as good as this movie is. Arrival's still smarter, but I will give it Zero Shots of Kraken. Gonzo, on to you.
I'm definitely going to give it Zero Shots of Kraken also. It gave me all the right feels. I got excited. I went, oh crap. And I went, wipe that tear away from my face.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good feels in this movie. It hit all the right buttons for a Star Wars movie without all the Jedi stuff.
Yeah.
It had all the good battle scenes that you're used to having in a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
I related a lot to the characters. It was a very good ride. It's one of my top Star Wars movies.
Fantastic. John, anything else that, from a movie standpoint outside of Star Wars, you want to talk about this week?
I watched Doctor Strange again. It's still good. It was actually, funny thing is, it was actually a closed caption version. I don't know why. I think there was someone in the audience who needed a closed caption version, so they had scheduled it in advance like that, which is actually good because you can get a lot extra, maybe things you didn't notice first time around. But just as good the second time around. Still worth watching. My mom loved it. It was great.
Most excellent. Gonzo, any other medias that you want to talk about?
No. These next week is all about sitting with Netflix and movies because I'm off for 2 weeks. I get to do nothing but put miniatures together and watch movies. So that's what I'm going to do.
Sweet.
I'm getting 2 days off.
I'm going to finish this guy off. He's bobblehead Minoth John. I need to put some glasses on him. He's carrying a brush. You'll notice. Super sweet.
That's awesome.
And I'm going to keep on working on him. my boys get off they get off from school starting on Wednesday, I think. So they'll be here with me, and we're gonna have some good old times. But it's gonna be great. Brushheads, we're coming into the holiday season, and I want you to think about the folks that you got around you. It's a fragile community, folks, and there's some wonderful people that come into our lives, and give them a big old hug. And Gonzo, I appreciate your friendship more than anything in the whole wide world, and what you've shared with me here, and shared with me the difficult times that you've gone through. Know that the Brushhead Nation is here for you.
Yep.
And we are going to continue to give this to you every week that we can. And, folks, it's a season of giving. Most folks just want contact. Get out there and give them a hug, and give them a, hey, how you doing? And all that kind of stuff. And that's the best kind of contact you can give to people more often than not. It's better than anything I've ever been given. And so on behalf of the Paying with Menoth John crew, I'm going to go ahead and put the music on, because that's what we do at the end of a show, I heard.
Yep. And remember, guys, we don't have any show next week because it's Christmas Day.
Yep.
Though if I get home in enough time, I might throw a Google Hangout together. If so, I'll post it up on the normal things. We'll see what time I get.
Yep.
Also, I'd like to say thanks to my first fan, Bad Gaffin.
Woohoo!
Love ya.
All right, man. On behalf of Gonzo, on behalf of John Spencer, I'm Menoth John. We won't be here next week, but we will be here in the future. Probably the next time we're going to see you is in 2017, John?
That's correct.
All right, folks. On behalf of Painting with Menoth John, I'm Menoth John. We are going to see you next time here on Painting with Menoth John. Good night, everybody.